In September 2018, the since-axed Australian daily satirical news show Tonightly ran a segment called Lefty Boot Camp. It opens with a bearded white comedian, Jazz Temlo. "Hello," he says, "I'm left-wing." Being left-wing, he explains, means not taking too kindly to the rise of the alt-right, who have somehow gone mainstream, gaining a rock and roll anti-establishment vibe. But there's nothing very rock and roll about a bunch of white men hating multiculturalism. Then Temlo continues, what is more interesting is who is to blame for making neo-Nazis look like the new rock and roll punk, and the answer is, unfortunately, partly us. The left's problem, according to Temlo, lies with those who insist on pointing out racism. Brexit, for example, was the fault of those who insisted on slagging off 17 million members of the UK population by calling them racist and failing to put forward a positive agenda. Yelling racist online made us feel good about ourselves and had no long-lasting side effects. For Temlo, the left replaces dialogue and debate with name-calling. He interviews an academic who says, "I think that if you call a bunch of people sexist or racist, but they don't believe they are sexist or racist, all it's going to do is get them to rally around their own tribe. I mean, how would you feel if I said you're entrenched in white privilege?" The clip ends with Temlo alternately donning yellowface and dressing as Hitler doing yoga. Remember, calling someone racist isn't going to unracist a racist. Anti-racists have been doing anti-racism wrong. While Lefty Boot Camp is far from original, it summarizes a popular view that a reduction of complex political issues to questions of race, gender or sexuality is unhelpful and alienating. The virality of the video spoke to a belief on the white left that it has ceded irony to the right and that progressives lose by taking themselves too seriously, as though all that was missing in the fight against racism was better jokes. This view twists Temlo's repetition of racist tropes for a white audience into a punch at power. However, this wishful thinking negates the fact that it was overwhelmingly people of colour and anti-racists who criticised the sketch, explaining how it served white supremacist aims by casting racism as an unhelpful explanation. I refer to the white left to suggest that not all white people are the agents of white supremacy, although I share Daniel C. Blight's insistence that there can be no anti-racism that is grounded in white identity. Referring to the white left makes it clear that Temlo and other critics of identity politics actually use the label "the left" only to refer to the proponents of social justice whom they see as thwarting leftist aims. Encapsulating the left's problems in internet call-out culture, as this comedy sketch does, reveals a profound lack of engagement with the actually existing challenges presenting themselves to anti-racists. Temlo's thesis is inspired by Angela Nagle's book on the online culture wars, which argues that a deep intellectual rot in contemporary cultural progressivism that she observes among users of the Tumblr website is responsible for the failure to beat the alt-right. In these digitally mediated times, splits on the left are arguably exacerbated by white complaints against anti-racist projects that receive disproportionate exposure and generate distraction. The lack of interest in the multiple histories of anti-racism, which also differ widely between locations, leads to the struggle against racism being caricaturized and anti-racists having to spend significant energy challenging damaging stereotypes of the type the Left Boot Camp sketch exemplifies. Because anti-racism has rarely been subject to serious study, being consigned to the status of a cause, fit only for platitudes of support or denouncement, there is very little understanding of the movement's diversity. Disagreements abound, but it is a stretch to hold them responsible for the failures of the left to make political gains. It may be more fruitful to ask why the white left so often fails to think race matters.